got my very first professional gig with Repercussion Theatre in 2017, doing costume design for their production of Much Ado About Nothing.
Hey there, my name is Bruce Dinsmore. I'm an actor based out of Montreal, and 31 years ago, as crazy as it seems to me, I was a cast member in Repercussion's summer season. We did the Scottish play and Comedy of Errors. And aside from learning a lot, having a fabulous time, I met friends, colleagues that are still some of my theater besties to this day.
One of my first professional gigs was with Repercussion Theatre in 2016 as their touring production manager for Julius Caesar. It was actually my very first production management gig ever, and I caught the bug.
One of my very first professional contracts was with Repercussion Theatre, and this was back in 1995 in a school tour production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And fun fact, the second time I worked with Repercussion was 18 years later, in 2013, for the silver anniversary season on yet another production of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
One of my first gigs out of theater school was Repercussion's Romeo and Juliet in 2010, and I played Benvolio.
In 1990, I got my first professional job working with Repercussion Theatre. I was hired as a stage manager for Macbeth and an assistant stage manager for Comedy of Errors.
Hey, I got my start with Repercussion after graduating with a master's in architecture. I played Murder Number 2 in the Scottish play in 1994, and I learned so much that year that I was cast as Orlando in As You Like It, where I met my partner of 26 years.
That's right. We did Comedy of Errors that year as well as You Like It, and then we went on to Midsummer Night's Dream and the school tour.
You played Helena, I played Lysander.
That's right. We do sing in a band, and I think of Repercussion in the set crew every time I coil a cable after a show.
Yeah, we had to put this set up back then, and I remember having such respect for what technicians do, and I think that's carried me through my entire career. 25 years in the business, I've traveled all over the world, but I have such gratitude for our first years at Repercussion.
Since my early days with Repercussion, I've gone on to do Shakespeare with many awesome companies, including the Stratford Festival, the National Arts Centre. I spent 10 fantastic years as artistic director at Black Theatre Workshop here in Montreal, and I am now the associate director of the acting program at the National Theatre School of Canada.
And now I live and work in Toronto as an actor and a filmmaker.
Since then, I've had the privilege of working with some amazing theatre and dance and performance companies around Montreal.
Now I'm working at Why Not Theatre in Toronto as their full-time production manager.
Since then, I've gone on to continue working in theatre. I'm a stage manager, assistant metteur en scène et régisseur in English and French theatre, as well as in opera.
Thank you so much, Repercussion, for really giving me my very first leadership role as a production manager and introducing me to this career.
Thank you, Repercussion Theatre, for giving me an early start in this business. I love you, and I cannot wait to be on your stage again.
Yay, Repercussion!
Repercussion, yay!